The next translation is Dawtul Quran. Again, this Dawtul Quran originally from Arabic to Urdu, done by Shams Pirzada, Maulana Shams Pirzada. And Maulana Shams Pirzada, may Allah grant him Jannah too. And all the people who have done good work, including right from Abdullah Yusuf Ali and Taqiyuddin Hilali, all the people, alhamdulillah. What he has done a compilation of other tafsir. Though his base tafsir is of Maududi. His base tafsir is Maududi, but he tried to improvise on it and refer to other tafsir. He looked at many and then written this. So this is amongst the good tafsir. Now when we say translation, when we say commentary, translation means translating only the Quran. Tafsir means giving a commentary. So Abdullah Yusuf Ali, as I said, has got footnotes and commentary. Now this amongst the English, if you want to read the best translation and tafsir, and if you have the time, number one I would recommend is Tafsir Ibn Kathir. Again, amongst the Arabic tafsir, the two most popular and the most important, one is Tabri and the other is Ibn Kathir. Tabri is more meant for the scholarly, it is very voluminous. And Tafsir Ibn Kathir, both of them are the two most important. There are various other tafsir, various. In Arabic there are many. In our library we have a section only of Arabic tafsir. There are many. We are not going to discuss about Arabic. But in the two main one I'm saying are tafsir done by Tabri and by Ibn Kathir. Yes, Tabri has been translated to English. And Ibn Kathir also has been translated to English. But when Ibn Kathir did the thing, what he did, he collected the various views of different mufassirin, the commentators. So this verse of the Quran has 10 different views of 10 different commentators, which is good for you to know. So if you read Tafsir Ibn Kathir, one commentary, you come to the views of various other commentators. But the problem in Tafsir Ibn Kathir is, he doesn't say which is correct, which is wrong. Sometimes he gives his opinion, okay, I agree with tafsir of so-and-so person. Sometimes he gives and he leaves it. So now you as a dai should know many a time when you are debating, your opponent may say, Tafsir Ibn Kathir says this, blah, blah, blah. Khalas, Tafsir Ibn Kathir means a normal Muslim who has little knowledge, khalas. If he quotes Tafsir Ibn Kathir, doesn't mean it is correct, please. It is the most popular tafsir. What Tafsir Ibn Kathir has done, he has compiled the various views of different commentators, which is good for you to know, but it doesn't say it is authentic. This translation per se by Darus Salam, what they have done, that they have tried to remove the unauthentic views. So this is abridged version. This is abridged version of Tafsir Ibn Kathir. It's in 10 volumes, done by Darus Salam, headquarters in Riyadh, by Malik Mujahid. Very good work. Again, I cannot say all Zaif has been removed from here. That also has been done by human beings. And if I'm not mistaken, Shaikh Safir Rahman Mubarakpuri was the head of the team, if I'm not mistaken. I read it years, decades. So done by Safir Rahman Mubarakpuri, his book I think should be there in the next section. So Tafsir Ibn Kathir is very good. If you have the time, read. But please don't get wrong information that if it's mentioned here, Ibn Kathir himself is alhamdulillah. So sometimes he gives his opinion, okay, I believe in this, but not always. So for you to have a knowledge of various tafasir, it's very good. But everything may not be authentic. It's good to know many things if you're a student of knowledge. So it means you can identify what is good and what is bad. Not for a layman per se. So that is the reason when someone quotes Ibn Kathir, that doesn't mean yes. Can be right also. And many a times it is right. But when your opponent quotes Ibn Kathir, it's not like Bukhari. Bukhari means khalas. So that you have to be careful. And many a time, what I'm talking about, the rules of understanding. If you study in a particular university, every university has its own ideology of understanding the Quran. And I know many people are from different parts of the world, and some of you are graduates from Islamic University, etc. For your information, I'm no graduate from any Islamic university. I'm not. But alhamdulillah, I visited many Islamic universities, interacted with the heads, and the top scholars. Fas'alu ahli zikri in kuntum la ta'lamun. Therefore, I've met many, mashallah. So that's a very strong point. The art is that when you can grasp the 3 years course or maybe 1 year's course in few days while speaking to the head is an art. So whenever I meet an expert, whatever appointment I do, I leave it aside and try and extract what I can. I always say, Eda ban ke peda khao. There's a saying in Urdu, which is in a low language. Eda ban ke peda khao means eat the good delicacies by behaving like a fool. And get the best of it. People try and be a hero and then become zero. So when you know you're meeting an expert, one thing is there. Even if you realize there's a fault, forget it. Now you're not come for that fault here. So when you identify he's an expert, and suppose he makes a mistake, suppose, hypothetically. Point number 1, it may not be a mistake because you are not up to that level to know what's a mistake. Point number 1. Even if it is there hypothetically, okay, neglect it. Learn what is good. People try and pick. So when I meet an expert, even if I disagree, I say, okay, 1 point, I'll keep it aside. The balance 99 points, at least I'll gain. So when I go on talking about that 1 point, what do? I am losing the benefit. Fas'alu ahli zikri in kuntum la ta'lamun. If you don't know, ask the person who is knowledgeable. And I remember in the first Dawah training program, I was young that time. Now also I'm young, mashallah. That time I was about 34, 35 years young. And now I'm 50 years young, mashallah. I'm yet young. Young in heart, young in body, alhamdulillah. And may Allah always keep me young. But I remember, at that time there were many of the students, I was 30 years and some 40, some 50, some graduates, some postgraduates from Islamic University of Medina and all. So first 2-3 days, they were doing testing with me. Testing. Testing means, let's see now what is this person. We are graduates and this person. Fine, he's famous. Not that. But in the first 2 days, alhamdulillah, they realized that, sorry, we were. So the first thing is when you meet an expert and when you realize he's an expert, try and get the best from him rather than trying to prove you're a hero. And that time, what happened, there was even a Malaysian. You know why there were 19 people last time? One person was extra smart. I told him to leave. Was from Malaysia. Breaking the rules of Quran and Sunnah. You come here to break the rules of Quran and Sunnah. You're coming to be a dai. Fine, you can ask a question, but trying to misguide the people. So in such a situation, I am very tough. Let a small loss take place to prevent a big loss. So when I come to know any one student is trying to create mischief, which should call loss to the other students, I tell him back up. I'll have him paid first ticket. I say, don't take it, you take your ticket money and get out. So when you meet an expert, number 1 is try and gain from him. What people think, expert hai na, main usko bataunga, main usse expert hu. So there's a saying, you try and become a hero and you'll end up becoming a zero. When you meet an expert, behave like an average man and gain the knowledge. Out of 100 points, you disagree with 1 point, okay, don't follow it. Correct? Put it in the dustbin. At least gain the 99. Not to prove his 1 point is wrong, you keep on debating and you lose. And all the other people benefit. Every man has got faults, including myself. But this is an art. How to extract the best when you meet an expert. That's very important. As we were discussing from the tafsir, that this is the Noble Quran, which is in 9 volumes. And there are many tafsirs. Amongst the best voluminous tafsir in English is Tafsir Ibn Kathir. But take the one printed from Darus Salam, which is abridged, which has removed most, if not all, of the unauthentic sources. Not all, yet there are. So when anyone says this tafsir is from authentic sources, yes, alhamdulillah. But as a human being, can make a mistake. But as a whole, yes, you can rely on most of the things. If you read the abridged version, and if it gives a commentary, that commentary which is matching with the Quran has been kept. That which goes against the Quran and Sahih Hadith has been removed. But again, it's done by a group of scholars, research scholars, which can make mistake. There are yet some hadith, etc., which are based on Saif, etc. But as a whole, it's good, alhamdulillah. This is Noble Quran again by Taqiyuddin Hilali and Dr. Mohsin Khan, which is also good if you have the time. I have just scratched the surface This is one more tafsir, Ishaq Al-Mani, coming to tafasir. It is voluminous, I think in 14 volumes. This is by Sayyid Iqbal Zahir. He has picked up tafsir of Tabri and Ibn Qasir, Maududi, and where he felt this is much better than the others, not reach the level of Ibn Qasir. So there are many other people who came and said, okay, fine, Ibn Qasir done a good job, I'll try and I may disagree with this. Okay, it's fine, but this is better. So there are tafsir. So this is a good one, just done recently. Ishaq Al-Mani, done by Sayyid Iqbal Zahir, again an Indian. I think when I met him, I think he was in Dammam, if I'm not mistaken. I have only mentioned 10 in the list. There are many, I can name if you want. Irving is there, Zidane is there, but I don't want to name because this is just, I've selected a few. There are many translations. Each one has its pros, each one has its cons. There are translations only by, again, I don't want to name, only scientific work. Seems to be good. I read it. I don't want to name the translator. It's always good to speak good about people rather than the negative factor. It is safe. If the negative is wrong, then we get the thing. But when I read, I didn't agree with some of the scientific points he mentioned. Fine, it has a variety of, every verse he's trying to prove scientifically. Good. But there are many. This is just, we are scratching the surface. There may be in English language, I don't know, may have reached about 90 to 100. I think it may have crossed a century by now. In the library, we have at least 70, 80, if not more.
لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله محمد رسول الله أرجو رضاك يا الله أنت الرحيم يا الله هبني عطاك يا الله أنت الكريم منك العطاء يا الله أنت العظيم يا الله فيك الرجاء يا الله أنت الحليم الرحمن الستار ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان المتعال الرحمن الستار ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان المتعال الرحمن الستار ملك الملك الغفار الوهاب المنان